Ken Lawson has been fishing since childhood. The Prince Rupert fisherman says his knowledge has been handed down from generation to generation.
My grandson, my children, they all worked on this boat. My wife, it's a family business.
But now times are tough, and Alaska's fishing practices have him worried.
It's pretty alarming. It's very hurtful.
Fish born in British Columbia are intercepted in U.S. waters before they return to Canadian rivers to reproduce.
They're catching our sockeye, our chum, our springs, all our fish. We're just getting the leftovers by the time they get here.
The Pacific Salmon Treaty, established in 1985, aims to manage salmon stock between Canada and the United States.
When the Alaska fish came through, the Alaska Chinook, they shut us down to let the run go through. But yet, over in Alaska, when our fish are coming, there is no stopping.
According to an estimate from Skeena Wild Conservation Trust, 3 million fish from British Columbia waters have been intercepted in 2023 by Alaskan fisheries.
It's hindering our abilities to rebuild and recover those populations. You know, a lot of these populations are at record low abundance. They're facing new challenges with climate change and hot weather. And so in Canada, we've adapted a lot of our fisheries, and they're changing to really reduce pressure on harvest. And just across the border in Southeast Alaska, the same thing isn't happening, or in fact, it's the opposite. They're ramping up harvest.
Conservation organization would like to see a more targeted fishery.
If that fishery and the boats that are in that fishery moved more to the more terminal waters where fish are returning in Southeast Alaska, that would reduce so many of those interceptions.
The treaty is renegotiated every 10 years. Fisheries and Ocean Canada defends its process.
It benefits from the fact that we have commercial, recreational, Indigenous harvesters as part of that treaty process, and so it's an open discussion amongst those harvesters as to the issues, and they're allowed to bring those issues forward through the renegotiation. And so we expect that we'll hear some of these issues going forward. Again, the Alaska isn't operating outside of the treaty, they're operating within the constraints of the treaty.
The next round of treaty talks will begin next year, but for Ken Lawson, the situation is urgent. Fishermen can no longer afford to maintain their boats.
I hang on to it because my dad did it, my grandfather did it, and his dad, and so on. And it was all instilled into me, and it's important for us to keep that going.
Despite uncertainties, he hangs on to this family tradition. Camille Vernet, Radio-Canada, Prince Rupert.